Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only Turbo coin, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I want to talk about something very important, right? Pretty much comparing Turbo to Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, this is important because, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually doing really well. And the thing is, once Bitcoin starts pumping and Ethereum catches up, a coin like Turbo will be unstoppable. Even just to show it in, the most basic way, if we take this certain tool and we take it from the literal top, let's just say to the literal bottom of Turbo, right? We can see that we're roughly up 38% from the literal bottom, right? From the literal bottom. Now, obviously, that bottom's not that relevant. These bottoms are a little bit more relevant, but, more or less, we are just looking at how much Turbo is up compared to the actual literal bottom. So we can see we're up 38%. We're almost at the halfway mark, which we will hit sooner than later. But, right, I just want you to pay attention to this chart. We can see, right, more or less here. But if we go to something like Ethereum, we can even see if we took Ethereum's relevant range, let's just say from this top to this bottom, we can see that we're not even at 23% pump. We're not even at 20%. We're probably like at 18, 19%. Now, if we took it obviously to the relevant bottoms, which is not the same thing as, it doesn't work the exact same way in terms of the Turbo chart, then yes, we are at the, 38%. But the thing is, right, this is data from literally 2016 and, it's not that relevant. So the more relevant data, if anything, we could do is pump up to, somewhere at these bottoms, right? Somewhere at these bottoms. And even then we can see we are at 23%. The point is that I'm trying to make is that Ethereum is lagging behind. And we know that Turbo is on the Ethereum chain. So when Ethereum pumps, Turbo is naturally going to get a boost. Okay. That is just how it works. The same thing. When Bitcoin has a strong pump, right, we are also going to get pumped. But if Bitcoin has, let's say, a 5% pump and Ethereum pumps 12%, that means something like Turbo is probably going to pump like 30, 40%, because not only is it a meme coin, but because the overall market is green, but then our chain Ethereum is pumping hard. So we can see, right, that Ethereum is lagging behind Turbo, which means when Ethereum does catch up, and it will catch up, Turbo is going to have mega pumps. When we go to something like Bitcoin, even right now, right, when we go to something like Bitcoin and we, let's just say, do the relevant range, because there's no point of looking at Bitcoin at the very bottom, right? Bitcoin at the relevant range, we can see Bitcoin is already, above the 61% mark. So in this relevant zone, the buyers are already in, because that's 50%, right? The buyers are already in, they are in control, and we can see that, Bitcoin will continue to pump, right? We have these highs, but then we also have new highs for where Bitcoin can go. Let's just say, even if we top out somewhere from the top of this to somewhere in the middle of the two, right? Let's say 140K, we still have a long way to go with Bitcoin. We still have, the recovery of Ethereum, right? Ethereum recovering, which it will, because there's literally a double top right over here, which means there's money, there's manipulation here. And I expect Ethereum, even if it's very weak, even if Ethereum is very weak, I still expect Ethereum to go up a couple more $1,000 at the bare minimum, right? So we have those two factors to, bring in. We also have the fact that Bitcoin dominance, has not broken down. It has just been going up. And we know every time Bitcoin dominance goes up, all the altcoins just get a natural pump no matter what happens, right? So we have that third factor. And we have the fourth factor that when we go to something and we talk about something like Turbo, we know we're still not on Robinhood. We still know there's a few, small, medium exchanges we can possibly get listed on. We still know there's a couple collaborations we can do. So there's so many more positive factors to happen for Turbo that this coin is going to be getting pumped out super hard, and no one is prepared for it. Okay, even me myself, the pump we had not too long ago, I expected to eventually get to this price action. Yes, I did. But did I think it was going to happen within 2 to 3 or 4 days, where we kind of go from, let's just say, being below this massive zone, which we had to overtake to get bullish confirmation, to all of a sudden we're talking about going to the next zone. We kind of even skipped retesting. No, I didn't think it was going to happen that quick, right? I always had faith in Turbo. I always knew this meme coin was amazing. But did I think it was going to happen that quick? No, it caught me off guard. And we can see, even for something like Turbo, we are literally just kind of trading in the relevant range, right? We can see we're not even going back to big zones because the truth is, right, there's a lot of imbalance, which I'll show in a sec, and something that's super bullish does not need to go back a lot, like I showed you with gold previously, right? I showed you the chart previously with gold that every time it was starting to pump, gold, right, it didn't have those big pullbacks, only here and there, once in the blue moon, before then just had even a bigger pump. So we can see we had a bottom here, we had a second bottom, we have a top here, and now for something like Turbo, I'm looking to see how this daily candle closes. Even if it closes technically here, that is technically a higher high, but it is very weak. But look, right, if Bitcoin continues to go up, Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance goes in our favor, even short term, Turbo continues to just pump, right? All we have to be doing is just trading in the relevant zone, even if we have a pullback, and then we'll just continue pumping up, right? We have to see that, ladies and gentlemen, we also have a lot of imbalance, right? I practically said once we get above, 0.004, there's a lot of imbalance pretty much until 0.008. So, Turbo should kind of double from this zone over here, right? This zone over here, Turbo should kind of just double pretty quickly, right? Because the market kind of mirrors price action. So if something died off, within 3 weeks, it died off, then honestly, within 3 to 4 weeks, that price can go from, this red zone up until this green box. So it's just super exciting, right? For those that have, sold near the bottoms or earlier, or getting the fear of missing out. I understand because I get it. Price was super low. All of a sudden it pumped a lot. Like I did say, just a couple days ago that, you can't be too stingy with price. So buying anywhere or anytime there's a decent dip, for me, that's a buying opportunity because like I said, if something's super bullish, we do not need the full on correction, the full on fundamental pullback. We can always get corrected next cycle, next bear season, right? And with certain prices, with certain coins, with certain pairs and forex pairs and gold and other things, once we leave certain price, we kind of just never come back to it forever, even if there's a massive correction. And that could very well happen to Turbo if we perform very well. I think we won't be ever seeing this price again, especially if we go up to, like what is even 5 cents right now? 5.5 cents would be 3.8 billion. Yeah, so definitely if we went up to something like, 50 cents, 35 cents, 25 cents, I doubt Turbo will ever, and I mean ever, see these prices down here ever again, right? If anything, right, if we did pump super high, right, I mean really high, like let's say 25%, so not 25%, 25 cents, which we did talk about, then the most pullbacks we'll probably get is back to these all-time highs, at most, right? At most, because, that would be a big pullback. Even if we just take the measuring tool hypothetically, right? That would be a very big pullback. Do something like this. Now it looks crazy now. It looks crazy now until it actually pumps to that point, right? So if we took it from the relevant bottoms, yeah. So like, this would be even 88%. Usually coins go a little bit more than 80%, especially meme coins. So yeah, I mean, we probably won't ever see this price ever again if Turbo does smash its goals, right? So I mean, crazy times, people. I mean, crazy times. I am super high on this token. I have a lot. It is roughly 10% of my portfolio. And I do believe Turbo will absolutely smash it. There is no new news, right? There's no new news. There's nothing really relevant, right? We are posting every single day. Well, not me, but Turbo is, and we can see even just regular posts are getting upwards of 10,000 views, which is what we like to see. But once again, don't worry too much about views or anything because momentum comes in bursts. The final thing we will check, ladies and gentlemen, which, whoa, we are at 360 million volume, 382 million market cap, right? Volume is great. I remember people not too long ago were always like, concerned about volume. people. Volume will never be an issue, okay? We almost have a 1-to-1 ratio for market cap and volume, okay? And the thing is, it's not like the market's really pumped today. It just turbo mainly pumped. So volume is not going to be a concern. When the bandwagon comes and the whole world gets introduced to turbo, I'm telling you, this coin will create wonders. The bandwagon will be absolutely crazy. You know, we did lose a couple holders not too long ago, and we can see we're already back at 54,256. So it just continues to grow. I mean, we're just literally at 54,000. Before you know, we'll be at 55. Then we're going to start going up a couple hundred holders a day, then a couple thousand, and you guys will see it. We'll probably go up to like 500,000 or even more holders for Turbo. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.